What's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome to another episode of Dot Connect Wednesdays. This is episode 68. We're going to call this one Confidence in the Crypto Markets on the Rise. Before we get started, Steve's got some things he wants to unleash on you guys. So without further ado, my man, talk to him.
Appreciate you. This is just Skyton Academy business. So if you are not part of the academy, the link would be in the description. By the time you're watching the replay on here, and you could kind of look, we are retooling the academy now. We had 5 pillars: professional, personal development, health, wellness, cryptocurrency, and trading. So we're starting to simplify those. We're starting to simplify just the process. So health and wellness is going to go into personal development. So we'll no longer have a health and wellness pillar. It'll come in a form of a channel inside of professional development. And then we're going to have courses that are going to be put inside of the learning of professional development. So we're just kind of bringing all that, encompassing that together. It doesn't really need a pillar on its own. We do have a new course we're working on for health and wellness that is going to be our recipe guide. So right now it'd be all the challenge drinks, the daily drinks, smoothies, you name it. So mouthwash. So as every time we drop something, we'll just be adding it to that course also. And that'll be your hub for anything health and wellness. And then you'll have information and videos on what it is. A lot of this stuff is not really like 4 days for you to be done in 4 days. Like you can continue on these on a weekly basis, or the detox that we dropped yesterday. That's a daily tea concoction for me. I utilize that to just clear metals and toxins out the body. So that's every morning on the wake up. I have that same. I might put a little bit extra in there, but for the most part, the base is always the same on a daily basis. So health and wellness moving over to professional. So now I guess it's down to 4. Trading is moving over to cryptocurrency. I don't think it needs its own situation. So the trading channel is going to be back active again tomorrow with the play calls. That's going to be on the cryptocurrency side. The courses, the 2 trading courses are already in cryptocurrency. So by tomorrow, I'm shutting down the health and wellness channel, and we're shutting down the trading channel. So now that's going to put us at professional, personal, and cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Okay. Professional, like I said, we have real estate is launching in November. So I'm going to open up. We have a personal calendar. You guys are going to start to book appointments for anybody that's interested in it. Here's my thing, guys. I don't want just anybody in this group. I want people who are going to execute on the knowledge and information and look to own or acquire a property in 2025. All right. Watching markets, being active, checking in on your local judicial sales, your tax sales. Like I'm going deep on this. I'm going, the first course we did was like 9 modules or whatever. That went into a lot of aspects of real estate, really more so to fix and flip. But now we're getting into judicial, tax sales, wholesale. Again, fix and flip will be back again. I'm going all aspects of real estate on this. We dropped a call today with one of our lenders, Weston from Loan Biz. So you should have got an email and a text message. I did see a good amount of people have already watched it on YouTube. It's an easy 40-minute situation, just a light Q&A with him, just giving you some updates and insight. Lenders are good people to learn the current market from. They work with people from all over the United States. They can tell you what's hot, what's not, what's slowing down, what's speeding up. So did a little Q&A for him. That's going to be turned into a master class. That's going to be part of the real estate also, but that'll be in personal development. So for anybody that has real estate deals, you can reach out to our in-house lender. It's free of charge. And I would always tell you to work with multiple lenders, even if you think you have the best rate in the world. Play them against each other. You know what I'm saying? Look at the terms, negotiate the terms, see, give the one company an opportunity to beat the other company, and just see who's going to give you the better of the rates at the end of the day. That's how you should be utilizing those relationships. And at some point, you want to build the relationship with, one lender, because then at in-house, they can lower the barrier sometimes if they have a track record with you. So I've already built a solid track record with Weston and Loan Biz. When I first got started with them, no one was lending in Detroit. So I was the first guy that they took a chance on back in Detroit. So now they're lending in Detroit. So happy to see that. There was a lot of you'll run into a lot of problems in the hood projects where the amount of the property is less than the actual rehab. So you have a lot of lenders who don't really like those products too much. But Loan Biz is one of those guys that have no issues with the small balance situations because they do require minimum loans. Now things are tightening up a little bit. Deals I used to do back in the days, they're requiring, a whole bunch of different requirements. So the money's not moving as freely as it was. So please, if you didn't check out the episode and you're in real estate, just get on it. Make sure you add them to a preferred list. Even if you have people, it's better to have multiple relationships when it comes to lenders because not every lender is looking to lend on every deal that you bring to the table. So one of the biggest takeaways from me is he was just saying, listen, guys are analyzing 10, 15 deals before they could find one. So that's the bread and butter. We also talked about, and this stood out the most, where he was giving me the appraisal rates. So after, when you're going through the loan process, you have to come out of pocket, and that's paid separately for the appraisal. So on residential, I want to say it's around $700 for a single family. On commercial, depending on the size of the building, I think he did a 19-unit building. It was close to over $6,000. So just telling you, like, when you're analyzing these deals, the type of stuff I teach you, the way I teach you how to analyze the projects are valuable. Okay. Because you don't have to spend $600. Because there's times I spent on the appraisal and didn't get the money back. Like the deal couldn't close. That's it. Right. But that happens far and wide. When you know how to analyze a project, you're looking at the worst case scenario, and then you'll do preliminary stuff before you get to that point of appraisal. So just letting you know that one of the most valuable things in real estate is people that know how to analyze a deal on paper. All right. This is the part that a lot of these real estate guys and these other courses aren't teaching you. So when they bring you dummy deals, you take it, right? Unknowingly, because you trust this person in training you, but the person didn't give you the secret sauce. So you have the inability to question the ability of this person. Okay, so case in point, I had a young lady come to me last year, maybe 2 years ago, when we first did the real estate course, and she found out about me through IG or whatever, and then we got to talking. She was like, yeah, I was in this real estate group. I got taken advantage of. I have a property in Detroit. I know you invest in Detroit. All right, cool. What's the address? She says, be an address. I look it up. Because I know how to read values really quick, she paid $30,000 from the guy. The property's only worth maybe 20, and she's going to need at least $80,000 to $90,000 in renovations on that project. The property's only worth 65 after repair value. So she's cooked. So there's only one or two things she could do: eat the $30,000 loss, sit on the property, but it's only going to get worse, right? The longer you sit on it and you don't, kind of, board it up or just clear it out, cover the hole in the ceiling because you got snow and rain and all that stuff coming. It's only going to damage the property even more. So I was like, yeah, either walk away from it, or find a way to just stabilize it and put a renter in there. But at that point, I don't know any lender that's going to really lend on something where those numbers don't really make sense. She was taken advantage of. I gave her parts of the real estate course for free just so she could not have this happen again. I don't even think she wanted to get back into real estate again. So there's just so many people out here that are getting hurt. One, you're paying astronomical amount of money to get through these courses, and they're not teaching you every single nuance of. And when I say I'm touching on everything, it's not like a deep dive on every single thing. It's going to be an overview, and then where you need the deep dive would be on a fix and flip. Because I tell people, if you know how to fix and flip, the next step from there is going to be new construction, and new construction is actually a whole lot easier than renovating some of these homes, because at that point you're building from the ground up. So after foundation, boom, you go right into framing, boom, everything's brand new. You know what's behind the walls. So the process of new construction is a lot easier than coming in. Should we knock this wall down? Should we take that down? Should we open that up and see what's happening there? Oh, there's a leak right here. Let's figure out where that, you see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of, and then what people do is the guys that are teaching you, they're cut corner guys. So they'll tell you, don't spend on that, or don't do this, or do a cheap renovation here. And it's like, it's going to come back and bite you. So I give you the stuff that they don't give you. And not even for obvious reasons. I just don't even think they're thinking about shit like that. I just go a lot deeper than most. I'm never a person that cuts corners. And I've done some wacky stuff before, that definitely comes back. So this is the part where, if you have somebody in your corner that's being honest, they can help guide you through certain things. I'm at the phase of my life now in real estate where it's like, I used to think I wanted 1,000 doors, and you hear all the stories of how big you want your rent roll to be. But this is about two months ago where my wife and I talked. She was like, yo, it could be time to just come up out of it. You have this mentality, oh, it's going to be for the kids and it'll be paid off, or and I had to drop it. I saw an interview with Mark Cuban on Shannon Sharp, and it was just a clip, and he talked about Mark is actually liquidating his whole real estate portfolio. And when he was asked about it, he was like, listen, I don't know if these kids even want that job later. Right. So that's another thing. You don't grow these kids up in the business. They're not managing it with you. There's not going to be so much appreciation for it. And it is work. Like, we self-manage our properties here. I always tell people, listen, manage your property before putting a property manager in place, because you get to know the property, you get to know the people. It's not a hard process nowadays with electronic payments and things like that. So I'm going to teach you the nuances of, property management, how they make their money, what to look out for. To be honest, just even speaking to the lender today, I didn't even realize how valuable of a skill set I have. If I wanted to just sit there and just charge you guys to just analyze deals for you, I could set up a business doing that for people. But now that we got the AI tools and things like that, I'm going to start bringing that into the fold. So now the future of real estate, we're going to start to touch on that. Money Mike was the first one to give me that bone with the, he ran a impact report with for a real estate investor. So that was really insightful. So we're going to bring some of those tools into the mix. I'm starting to play around with some stuff now. Mike, I also want you to play around with some of those tools and, run point when I need you. So it's going to be fun. We're going to drill down on analyzing a lot of projects from different states, or whoever's involved in the training. We're going to take stuff from your particular city and state, and just, I'm going to give you all my tools that I use, where I collect my data from. Right. You have to look at the job markets in the area, what's coming. They talked about Birmingham, Alabama on the call. Mm-hmm. Champ, he bought that up on the call. He was like, there's people building, $1 million projects, and he was like, that market is booming right now. So overall, everything is kind of slow with the fix and flips for the most part, but he's still doing quite a few buying holes. We'll talk about debt, all this leveraging the debt on the properties. I got smoked the other day on a call. I just didn't even want to go in on this guy, man. I wasn't even like, it's just child's play. I hurt his feelings, man. And it just wouldn't have been good. I already seen him when I was like, yo, listen, but if your tenants don't pay, there's not too many people that can literally, if you said none of your tenants paid, that can survive out there.
Facts.
Right. This is why I only buy certain property types. Like, when I have multiple units in one building, it's fine to have 2 vacancies, no problem. But when you have a single family, it's 100% of income when they don't pay you. When you have a duplex, that's 50% of income when they don't pay you. When you have a triplex, you get what I'm saying? So it's like, it gets a little bit better, but it's something you have to be mindful of, because if your income doesn't support the property for whatever reason, and you could think Section 8 is like the holy grail. And I'm telling you, under the Trump administration, they had lockouts, government lockouts, that affected the Section 8 payments. They didn't really make right on that for like 2 years later. They were just giving people extra payments to make up the difference, but they didn't have the money to really pay you. So that's another thing, man. They could, you never know with this government. They could pull a wacky plug on people. And next thing you know, that guy with the biggest Section 8 portfolio could find himself in. And I'm not saying that they can or can't. I'm just telling you that program does require a lot of money, taxpayer dollars. And with the way they're trying to incentivize and subsidize things now, I could see the government taking property back from people. And this is happening every day in markets. Philly has its way of giving out blight tickets and taking properties out from under you if you don't respond in a certain amount of time. So I'm noticing a big grab. And even when I used to have my properties, when you're dealing with like local municipalities, these guys are out 9 a.m. giving blight tickets on grass. Like, they didn't even give you a chance to get the guy out there. And I'm like, they'd be out there with a tape measure measuring the grass. Like that.
Wow.
So this is the part. So when I tell you guys I'm headed to South America next month, I'm looking at the real estate market out there. But then I had a conversation with a guy today who's, he has a travel company where he gives like food tours in Italy. So he goes back and forth from here to Italy, and he was just telling me about kind of how, I want to say it's in Spain or certain places. What's happening is you have out of state and out of country investors who are investing in properties, putting them on Airbnb, and it's causing the rental markets to go up and people's taxes to go up. So this is true. It's the same thing that happened in New York. People are starting to, we had a bunch of investors during the pandemic that thought like rental income from Airbnb is considered market rent, and it wasn't. So you had lending products that were lending based on Airbnb. So what happens when the Airbnb model shifts? You took out a big mortgage that supported that income. And now all those properties that people took out for Airbnb, whether it be arbitrage or whether you purchased a property at the height of the market, you didn't analyze it based on market rent. So this is why I tell you, like, the golden nugget in real estate is really the person who knows how to analyze a deal. And I don't care if the deal is one door or a million doors, because all you're doing is putting a couple of zeros at the end. You are looking at the situation the same way. Now, don't quote me. Multi-commercial units are looked at different. There's an income approach that comes along with that. So it's not your traditional, like, you're not going to go online and see what a 16-unit building just sold for. They don't hit the market all too often. So there is a an income approach that you do in markets, and then you have to know the cap rate of your market. So we'll go into that. I have tools that'll show you how to find cap rates in different cities. And I think once you get that part, that's the nugget where you won't get taken advantage of if you go back to that holy grail right there. And that's what everybody's missing. And then right after that, we're going into December. That's going to be, for here in Pennsylvania, in my county, there's a judicial sale. So I'm going to register for that. And then whoever's in the class, you'll be riding with me on that. It's virtual. But we'll go back and we'll look at the last couple ones. I'll introduce you to some of the deals I've done, some money I've made over time. I'll show you the HUDs. You'll have some receipts and, to kind of follow through on. When I head out to South America, I'm going to bring, again, the real estate group. I'm looking at lots and well, they're already built, high rises. So, it's one of those things you got to think about. When the guy told me about the Airbnb, I'm just like, shit, man, Americans could come to a town and just have their way with it, or just out of state investors. So what happens is it raises the taxes locally. Now the people that live there, they're being displaced. So you see a lot of like Spain, Portugal, they're putting a cap on the amount of Americans that are coming out there now. So they, as fast as we're leaving here is as fast as they trying to shut us down.
Yeah.
So, just something to think about. I'm going to be touring a couple high rises in Colombia, Santa Marta beach towns. And it should be good. So I'm actually going to in the process of selling my Detroit portfolio, and I'm going to take that out the country. So you guys will be on that ride with me as I, figure out what the next real estate play is going to be for myself personally. Part of the group too is, once we start to identify your local tax and judicial sales, we'll start to go over it. You'll start to know the dates, start getting active, whether you're going to start buying land to hold. That's a good way to hedge against inflation. We could analyze some properties that are coming to sale. That'll be part of the homework assignment. So I want to do it specific to people's cities and circumstances. So if you find a property nearby and you're thinking about doing it, and keep everything close, guys. Don't, I'm a firm believer, and you should definitely spread your wings. But when you're starting your first deal, keep it close to home if you don't have the experience.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a good gem.
And then, the whole part of real estate is just the experience. So when you're meeting with lenders, they want to know how much you've done. All lenders have something for guys with no experience, but they don't definitely want you like renovating a whole house for like $100K, because that's considered the higher side of renovation. So to put a team together, you just need somebody with a decent credit score. Even though it's all asset-backed loans, meaning they're looking at the property, they still kind of want to see where your credit score is at. And then they want to see some cash in the bank. So if you get a guy with a good credit score, a guy that can show cash in the bank for the reserves, and then the last person you put on your team is somebody with experience. Because once you do the experience, you're falling within a better percentage bracket, and you bring less money to the table. So I'm open to JV projects with you guys if the deal makes sense for all of us. I'm even open to, and this is only for the people that take the course. If you have a deal, I'm open to assisting on the deal. We just have to work out what the particulars are. But just to have somebody in your corner that can watch you, and you can, any questions, updates, what should I do? Like, that's where I'm opening up my schedule for just the people who are on this course ride with me. Again, 2025 is a year of execution. So when they talk about own nothing and be happy, I'm really starting to see that materialize right now. Right, just the sheer price of the properties. Property prices were supposed to plummet, but they're controlling the market. Banks are selling to investors offline. So what deal flow used to flow through us as private investors aren't coming to us anymore. You can't, once Wall Street is in, that's over. They mess up every game they touch. They mess up. So that's a good segue there, because that's going to take you right into cryptocurrency. This is where Champ's going to take over. Wall Street is here, guys. And it's exactly what we told you. It's a day of reckoning when they come in, but it's also a day of enlightenment, because like they're going to bring a lot of money to the table. And because you guys have that foundational understanding, just understand some assets are going to pop before others. There's still a part, there's still a couple phases of cryptocurrency where we get into like mass adoption 2030. So the renders, you're going to see a rise of like a lot of solid projects, who are going to be integral in certain industries. So this is where in January, we just have to start focusing on some of those phase 2 situations. For anybody that's in a deep in group, like I said, there's more deep in projects that we're, looking to sign on to. It's the hardware that's kind of messing with me right now. I just don't want people to get into trouble. So you'll still get the whatever 6 to 8 projects that were guaranteed to you. I want to say we might have delivered on 3 or 4. And we gave you a list of tokens to purchase. So you don't have to buy the hardware. You can just start to accumulate the tokens. So hopefully you guys, I didn't get too much feedback on the token post, but if you guys can go back and you're in the deep in group, just go back to that post and just let us know if you picked up any of those assets or what you think about those assets. Yeah, so we're just simplifying the academy. We're just making more room. The next phase of 2025, what's going to lead us into it is going to be real estate, transforming fear to fuel. Right. That's going to be a pivotal one. That one has nothing to do with like any one project to help you make money. It's really just to get you to understand who you are, understand your natural propensities, and then we're just going to be creating, providing you tools to help you get over a lot of that stuff. It's not going to get any easier in this new economy. I don't care who the president is. Right. It is not going to get 2024 is going to be a mirror image. Next year, it's going to be even worse. I think it gets progressively worse before it actually gets better. So if you're positioned correctly in crypto with the 1% projects, then you're at it. One thing I did notice about the 1%, there were some people that were just like, they were coming up short on it. So what we're going to do for those people is we're cutting back the 1%. We're not going to give that many projects. We'll give you a handful of projects. We'll lower the price, but then you don't have a lifetime with us. So these people won't be in a lifetime group, but they'll have enough to be able to start the nest egg. Because it's one thing to not have the money for it, then that means you don't really have the money to invest. And that's unfortunate, because some of these assets are like, you could find the change underneath your car seat or your couch. Right? A cup of coffee gets you 50 piece or something.
Yeah.
You cannot save your way to wealth. There's only one investment class that has the most upside right now outside of AI. But I still think there is a bubble in the sense of how many projects that are out there. It'll start to scale back, and then you'll start to see the cream rise to the top with it. We got about 2 years for everybody to become like an AI consultant before it's like press a button and that's how easy it's going to get. So while they're still working on these stages and it still hasn't been massively adopted, this is the time to start setting up your agency. And the great part about it is you could even set up your agency to go international now. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Not speaking on Instagram to people in America or that are part of the culture that don't want to hear about much of anything outside of entertainment. Now you can start to move into subcultures. My stuff will be transcribed in different languages. That helps me out tremendously. Last thing, and this coin is probably going to go on the 1%, but when we interviewed the lady from Santa Marta, she actually has next door to her, or maybe across the street, there's another store that opened up where they're signing people on for a cryptocurrency project. And she was like, there's lines all day over there. She didn't know the coin until after, and then she hit me with it, and she told me what it was, and I knew what it was. And they're signing people in all types of third world countries. But that project is linked to a lot of big people, and it is the way the world is going to move through retina scan and your eyeballs being your new fingerprint.
Yeah.
I ain't messing with it, but I'll hold that coin. So
So,
we'll be releasing that. Champ, you could just add that to the 1% list though.
yep. Got it covered. I'm tracking it. It'll be ready for everybody on
Saturday.
Saturday. Yep.
Yeah. So we got a 1% call. Champ will release the new coin on Saturday. Let's start partaking in that, or start doing your research in the project. All of you heard it. It's not nothing new, but because I'm moving international now, I'm starting to hear international talk. Tomorrow, I actually have a call from a guy, black gentleman who left America to move to Medellin, and he owns a cryptocurrency exchange. So this is the type of dot connecting that I'm doing right now. Understanding the South American market, how crypto is friendly or not friendly, what it's going to look like now, what it looks like later and in the future. So I'm once I go to a particular country, that's the first thing I'm looking at is like, all right, how did you handle COVID? And how are you adopting with cryptocurrency? And what's your tax structure, right? There's no way of bringing American money to some of these socialist countries that are going to charge you 60% in taxes. Yeah. Unheard of.
It's wild.
So the more programs, the more we move towards the social side of things, just know that everything's going to go up in price. The quality of whatever they're giving us is actually going to lower. And I don't want things that are for everybody. That's just me personally. You know, everybody could kind of speak for itself, but I do not want free lunch. I'm too much of an independent thinker to move the same way everybody else moves. So this is where we're at, guys. South America next month. Every day I'll be, tapping in live and just making sure I get the right content to you guys, and document, as I go along. And too bad condo on the beach for 60 grand ain't a bad idea either.
Not at all.
Yeah. Where you can rent it out 60-70% of the time and make good income in a full service building with like jacuzzi, indoor outdoor pool, sauna, bowling alleys. Like that shit's looking like a little Miami out there.
Yeah. Great amenities.
Yeah. So there is no lending, right? So no one in America is going to lend for projects like that. So these are cash outlays. Or, there could be something set up out there, or you could, 60 grand is like, those are bank loans really at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I'm excited about, going international right now with this. Yeah, the Academy is cooking. That's for sure. So we're simplifying the channels. We're getting into real estate, transforming fear to fuel. And then we have the business mastery, which is going to be the Skyton Academy agency. Mm-hmm. That's going to be the one where you come in under us. You purchase pay a monthly for unlimited websites, unlimited domains, and we're going to help people build out their business in a box. Andre Green, who is a Academy student, he's the first, well, not our first client, but he's our latest client that we worked with. We were commissioned to build 4 websites for him, and we'll start to show you the process of all that. I'll show you what was charged. So not only did we build the 4 websites, but we built funnels, so he can automatically speed. One of Andre's biggest problems was not having enough time to service his clients. So now that we have automation on for him, it's saving him a lot of time right now, where he could then move on to other processes. The next thing that we're commissioned to do for him is we're building chat boxes for everything. So now, again, not having enough time to answer all these emails, now you can train your customers to go to the chat box. So that's pretty exciting. Skyton Academy never had a main page, just so you guys know. So we're opening up a main page now, which would be the funnel to enrollment, AI. Like, it'll just take you to wherever it needs to go. If you need to book us, sponsorship, media packages, all our stuff will be at the main hub. And then we'll have a chat box on that one. The Enroll Academy site, once we finish up everything, that's going to be retooled. But I think the biggest thing I'm looking forward to is the story that we're looking to tell. So we led with cryptocurrency. I told Champ the other day, I said, yo, listen, the problem with cryptocurrency is people already have a preconceived notion about what it is without even knowing really what it is. right? You can't escape government. You can't escape the media and the way that it's trashed it. So I said, we had the plan 1 and 2. Let's retool them. Let's make them, easier to follow courses. And then we'll start to show people how money was made, what the banks are, how the banks make money, what's happening to the banks, right? That whole past, present, and future. Why is it happening to the banks and what's going to happen in the future? Once you get a snapshot of that, then we lead in with cryptocurrency, and that's going to make people see the value in it even more, right? There's always going to be laggers. There's always going to be people that are behind. It doesn't matter if, X coin is 10 cents. They want to pay $10. They want to pay $50. I'm totally fine with that now because I got exit points at whatever price y'all want to pay. I got exit points at it. So you want to be exit liquidity and you didn't want to buy at 10 cents, but you want to buy at $10, no problem. By all means, have at it. But I can tell you that we will not need your retail money in this space because the big dogs are out. And all they're going to do is tokenize every single asset they have, and they're only using a few blockchains. So y'all keep playing around. Tell you, shit gonna go dark in a minute. Everything's gonna be automated on our side. You will not even see me. That's how active I'm gonna be out there. I do not want to talk crypto 101. I don't even want to talk it now. Right? But I feel we have one more tooling up to do. And then the next administration is what's going to give us the regulations. And at that point, ball game.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If it's the Trump side, party starting early. If it's the other side, they might drag it out another year or so.
I like that.
Somebody gonna be left holding the raw end of this shit. I already have it in my mind that 2030 is when I'm looking to just sell because I'm kind of done playing around with this. I'm 10 years in on investments. 15 is like my mark. At least another 5 years, we know we'll be around 29, 30. If shit ain't hit by then I don't know what the fuck, man. I'm 20 years. What more do you want from me?
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, the minute you sell,
that's
when all this shit gonna come. So I'm really holding out right now. I put another 5 years on just my mental cap, and that's it. I'm retooling my situations, and I don't do much on that side anymore, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So we have a whole NFT market we have to teach. DeFi has been coming up, but we don't really do DeFi, but we can teach you about DeFi because we know a lot of you are doing DeFi out there, even though we told you whatever. So let's at least give you the warning signs and things to look for and, who's doing what out there. So that'll be for informational purpose only, not just do your own research because I know y'all poking around at some of these DeFi platforms. Or just wait till Donald Trump launches his, and his is Champ told me accredited investors only.
Only, absolutely.
So I'm telling you, they're about to put these big boys in. You will not be able to buy these assets soon. You won't be able to buy these assets.
Yeah, not at all.
They're gonna lock them up,
and it's happening. So I'm definitely gonna walk you guys. I'm a hand walk you guys through this one tonight, just so you understand what's actually going on because I don't think people are truly aware. So I'm glad you actually took them on that journey. So they understand what's where we've been. I'm gonna tell them where we going.
All right, shit. Let's not choke them out for you. So go ahead, put them to sleep, man.
All right, let's rock. I appreciate you, good brother. So listen, first things first on the menu, PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, but AIMA, AIMA, they just released the 6th annual Global Crypto Hedge Fund Report. And it's packed with all kinds of guidance, resources, and basically
real quick, that PwC a couple years ago, we gave you how to play. They're custodying your XRP over there.
Real talk.
So they've been on this for a minute. That's definitely one to follow. When you hear PricewaterhouseCoopers, your ears better perk up. Trust me when I tell you that. Those guys are dialed in on that side. I'm not giving them no XRP, but there will be a time where you're gonna have to play this DeFi market, and I'm gonna have to liquidate some money. So, yeah. And the good part about the other parts of the world is they're already accepting cryptocurrency for transactions. Like we're the only country that's like really behind in this cryptocurrency situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead, PWC, and I'm out the way.
Yeah. Nah, but that, I mean, that was a great point because it is here. So that creates a false sense of the rest of the world is moving, but here, the residents and investors here in the United States, people draw blanks. So you kind of lose the awareness that things are happening. So let me walk you guys through this. So in the chat, I'm dropping you guys the link. It'll be available, for replay. But listen, I'm gonna cut right to it. The key findings are on page 5, right? So on page 5, basically this report is just telling you that there's confidence in the crypto markets, not only for retail investors, but definitively for institutional investors. This is the key point. Everybody was scared in terms of, I guess, overall perspective when we had the FTX collapse and crash. When FTX happened, we're right now on the 2-year mark. There was so much fear, so much uncertainty. Everybody was still building, still doing what they needed to do because they knew the importance of cryptocurrency and blockchain. But you've kind of seen the way they skewed the perspective on the market, on crypto itself. So with this report, this is the 6th annual report. The key findings are as follows. You got digital asset investment rises as regulatory clarity and ETF boost the confidence. So I'm gonna give you guys a fact and a figure. 50% of all traditional hedge funds that were surveyed are invested in cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. Last year, you know where it was at? 29%. And 29 was a loose estimation. So you're almost a 2x in 1 year, in the span of 1 year. Now, the biggest thing that people have to put into perspective is you have the big dogs like your Franklin Templeton, you have BlackRock, you have Van Eck. All of these guys are coming out of the woodworks and they're staking their claim because what they're doing is they're about to launch what's called institutional DeFi. Institutional DeFi, this is where the big dogs are going to come in. They're going to swing their big axes of bread, and they're going to control a lot of these markets. So anybody who's already properly positioned right now, who doesn't have exposure but has actual holdings of cryptocurrency. So I'm not talking about the people holding ETFs. I'm talking about the people who actually have the coins itself. Those are the people that are going to be handsomely rewarded. As a whole, if you're in this space now, you're ahead of the game. Still, we are about 5 to 7% right now. They have said because there is more confidence in, now there are more retail investors that are coming in, but it's still on a slow scale. So I would say anywhere from 5 to 7% of the global population is invested in cryptocurrency, right? Now put this into perspective. If you have 50% of the hedge funds right now that are controlling your money, that are controlling people's retail investors who are working with their accounts basically for retirement. You're putting this money into these hedge funds. These hedge funds are investing in emerging trends, emerging capital, emerging narratives. It's cryptocurrency and blockchain. Period. All right. So on top of that increase, you have more sophisticated investment strategies. Everything is being shifted, quote unquote, towards derivative trading. So you're starting to see that. Now there are new strategies that these hedge funds and these hedge fund managers are willing to get into. They want to trade stocks, bonds, all of the above, right? And they're going to do this in a tokenized fashion. So the more that you continue to hear about tokenization, you're going to continue to see growing interest all across the board, despite the regulatory challenges that we're facing. There are going to be a changing of the guard. We're going to get rid of 9 times out of 10, we're going to get rid of the SEC. It's going to be the CFTC that's going to step in and other regulatory bodies. But now that's really here in the United States. I want you guys to change your level of thinking to not here domestically, think broad. The next phase that we have is MiCA. MiCA is the next regulatory clarity that we're going to have. This is regulations of the global crypto market. All right. So what it means is markets and crypto assets. That's what MiCA stands for, just for those of you who did not know. So Right now, they've already started to implement things. And the first thing that they are trying to bring regulations on is stable coins, which immediately brings me to my next part. All right, so those of you who do not know, right now is day two and the final day of Swell, Ripple Swell. So every year, Ripple has a conference called the Swell Conference. And I believe this is like their 16th uh, conference, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. But basically, this is the year where their whole focus over the past year has been RLUSD. No matter how much information that we have or have not seen being released, they've nonstop been working. And this is one of the key things that we always tell you guys. When you get into any single investment, I don't care if it's cryptocurrency or whatever, you have to understand everybody is not going to give you news like that. But the companies who are being transparent, those are the ones that you should value because what they're doing is they solve real world problems. They don't have time to keep consistently updating you, but it's a benefit for those who are invested. So the news that came out from Ripple Swell and just as in general, Ripple Swell is about telling investors and the retail who are watching basically what has been going on with the company, what initiatives they are partaking in at the time, and what they're building. So the news and the focus on day one, this was the first news that came out, was RLUSD, which is Ripple stablecoin, is operationally ready. This means that the token is ready to be used and sent out, period. And this is global. On top of that, here's another part. This is what gets me excited. So they not only released the information about what RLUSD is, some of its use cases, but they also gave you the advisory board and they also told us about the key exchange partners that are existing right now that they just partnered with. So just for anybody who has not heard of these companies or this announcement, first things first, RLUSD is it has exchange partners with Uphold, Bitstamp, Bitso, MoonPay, Independent Reserve, CoinMina out of Dubai, in the UAE, and Bullish. All right. So not only is it operationally ready to go, that means it's ready to go now. So we're not looking at months on end before we get a release. Now, something else I want you guys to understand is that RLUSD is not going to be a retail stablecoin. It is pegged to the dollar, right? But this is going to be utilized for two things: tokenization and institutional DeFi. Now, the great part about this is there's so many nuances and so many levels to this onion. We'd be here for probably about another hour. I'm not going to go into that, but everybody that's in the 1%, we're going to talk about it on this next call because there are partnerships and liquidity partners that are part of this RLUSD situation and release. And the only thing that we're waiting on right now is regulatory thumbs up, right, from the necessary parties. I believe it's going to be the FDIC. Once they give it the thumbs up, it's going to be ready to go. Now your market makers, everybody who's controlling the markets, who's providing liquidity, is going to be able to utilize RLUSD alongside XRP in its offerings. So this is going to be awesome. And the key thing that Ripple put out today on day two was that RLUSD serves as the gold standard of stablecoins. There are going to be a multitude of stablecoins that are being released on top of the ones that currently exist. The problem with the stablecoins that currently exist are one, they're not transparent. Two, they're not fully backed with what they say they're backed by. And three, they have centralized players that are essentially controlling things in the background. So a lot of the stable coins that people utilize, USDC, Tether, etc., they may not be around when you get a coin like this, who is going to have 100% backing, full liquidity. This is it. All right. So keep your eyes on. I'm not trying to push RLUSD because we right now aren't even going to be able to hold RLUSD. But when it releases, you guys want to keep your eyes on it to know what players adopt it, how it gets used, and that will kind of give you more insight on how Ripple continues to package its products and serve multiple needs around the world, right? Because the more demand that grows for not only the company Ripple, but XRP and RLUSD, that means the more use case and utility it solves for the world because we all need liquidity. Um, Banks especially right now in these times. All right. So today is the last day of Ripple Swell. It is the 16th. I don't think there's any more events going on, but I do know that there were a magnitude of different interviews that were conducted from Monica Long, the Ripple president. She did touch on a couple things with Gary Gensler in the SEC. So after this call, I am going to dive in and I'll make sure I provide you guys with some things. I advise you all to do the same. And there were other key players that were doing interviews with Brad Garlinghouse and Arrington Capital and a couple other, major players that were in attendance. All right. Next. Oh, before I move off of this, with the RLUSD, on the advisory board, they did also release who was part of the advisory board. There's a couple key players, but there's one person that sticks out. She's the second most powerful woman in the world. Her name is Sheila Bair. She is the former FDIC chairman. She was in office from 2006 to 2011. So when they had the collapse of 2008 and the economy was horrible, she was the one who was spearheading things with a lot of innovative initiatives that were able to get the economy back rolling and moving as it should. All right. So she is the first person that is on the advisory board for FDIC. I mean, for RLUSD. Um, they also have David Puth. He's the CEO of Center Consortium. And then you have Ripple execs, Chris Larson, who's the last chairman right now. All right. So that's a big thing. Keep your eyes on that because that's going to give us some great insights on what's happening in the markets up to come. And you guys are already utilizing some of these exchanges that we gave you. Definitely Uphold, MoonPay. CoinMina is out of Dubai. Dubai is going to be a hub with M2 exchange. You all can't use that unless you have a VPN, right? So, that's just one of those little nuggets. But that exchange is very robust. And Dubai is staking its claim across all utility coins right now. They have a lot of Sharia law compliant coins that they're backing, and they will have them. That's going to increase adoption for cryptocurrency assets overall. So everybody in the 1%, keep stacking, keep filling up your bag. You'll see it. You'll see it materialize. All right. Now, the next thing I want to go over is BRICS. So Kazan, Russia is where the BRICS summit is going to be held. That is next week. It's going to be from the 22nd through the 24th. Now, the reason that I'm bringing BRICS up on this call is because you have to know who is challenging the dominance of the dollar. Right now, you guys already know standard BRICS nations: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, right? Now, there are even more members who have now joined, and they are definitively telling everybody this is not speculation. This is not someone making something up. They're telling everybody that their number one interest is de-dollarization. They 100% want to move away from the dollar. Right now, about 90% of Russia's trade is already being done outside of the dollar. Russia is spearheading BRICS right now. And one of the main announcements that everybody is anticipating is a new payment system that they've already been working on. It's 100% ready, and it's going to be crypto based and it's going to be gold backed. So they're going to back different currencies in BRICS with gold. Some of the countries are already backed by gold. and then they're going to run on cryptocurrency. One of those assets is XRP. And I just told you guys, XRP and RLUSD are stable coins. So if they want to move away from the US dollar, they can easily use a pegged digital asset to be able to facilitate trade on a decentralized platform that has never had downtime. It only makes sense. Russia's already been working, and there's documents that I'm actually going to provide to you guys in the 1% call that show proof that Russia has already been working with Ripple Tech and including XRP inside of their platform. All right. So again, just connecting points for you guys so you truly understand you're not here on an island by yourself. And when you're investing in certain things, you are investing in the right things if you do proper dot connecting, if you stay part of Skyton Academy, and if you actually understand where to find these documents and be able to connect. That's it. That's the biggest part. Now, with the BRICS Summit, this one is just all about security, the economy, and finance. They are planning on touching on cultural and humanitarian ties because, of course, you're dealing with a multitude of countries that are coming together. But right now, they have almost a larger GDP than the United States. So, I mean, than the G7. So there is a lot of benefits that's coming out of BRICS nations, and they're all moving away from the dollar. Today, Trump came out and Trump said, and I don't know if it was yesterday or today, I just seen it today. He basically was telling everybody that anybody who wants to de-dollarize or is practicing de-dollarization, and he's talking to the countries, the leaders of the countries. He basically said he is threatening you guys with a 100% tariff. So, one, he's not the president right now. He's favored to win. If he wins, cool. I get what he was saying. This is a double-edged sword. Basically, what he was telling everybody was this is how a leader, you know what I mean, it exudes power and dominance, right? You have to have a little bit of conviction when you speak, and he said it matter of factly. Anybody who tries to de-dollarize and move away from the dollar, I'm hitting you with a tariff. Now they know that this guy is a live wire. So if he does get back in office, it's more than likely he would do something like this. But here's the flip side. All of these countries, BRICS and BRICS Plus, they're already telling you they don't care about that. They're moving away from the dollar. The flip side is if somebody doesn't care and they're already transacting and they've already removed the power from the dollar itself, we no longer have the petrodollar. It basically means nothing, right? Saudi Arabia, Iran, all these oil-rich countries in the UAE, in the Middle East, they're already part of BRICS. Saudi right now has said they're going to stop utilizing the dollar for its oil trades. So now think about this. What currency are people going to use to be able to buy barrels of oil for their country? You don't truly have one. So if they're creating this new payment system where everybody is backing their dollar or whatever fiat that they have, they're backing it by a commodity, gold. There's mineral rich countries that are going to be backing their things, especially Africa. All the diamonds, gold, all of that stuff. It's super rich. Oil, it all comes from Africa, and Africa is being exploited. But because they're part of BRICS, think about that. That raises the value of the currency of each one of these nations tremendously. And we already told you this new system is going to be gold backed and it's going to be crypto backed. So now, once you truly find out that these two mediums are the resolve for problems for countries, think about what they will do for you and your investment portfolio. I'm not pushing you guys to do anything outside of the norm or anything that we haven't already told you. Your hedge against what's going on currently in the world is commodities, gold, silver, diamonds, platinum, palladium, etc., right? And then cryptocurrency, understanding it's a alternative currency, and the rest of the world is literally picking it up. Hedge funds, governments, everybody is telling you that they are moving to this standard. And now BlackRock came out day before yesterday. Larry Fink said everything is going to be tokenized and it's going to be put on a blockchain, and Bitcoin is its own asset class. This guy is the guy that you listen to when you're looking for sound bites and guidance and insights of what's about to happen in the world. So if he can tell you that Bitcoin itself is an asset class, think about that. He's one of the largest holders of Bitcoin. And it's not about that particular coin. It's about the space. It's about cryptocurrency, because there are going to be coins that are going to literally shadow and dwarf Bitcoin exponentially. Bitcoin does not do anything, and they're calling it a flight to safety. But think about this. Would you be using Bitcoin to go buy coffee? Would you be using Bitcoin to settle transactions globally when it's super expensive? It takes a lot of power for one transaction. You just wouldn't do it. It's not efficient. It's not cheap. It's not scalable. The only reason it has that value is simply because it is limited in supply, and they own most of the supply. So they can run that up as much as they want to. And if it maintains its dominance, think about what's going to happen to all the other coins that solve real world problems. Now, factor in, last but not least, what Steve told you. There's a bubble on AI and on crypto. There's a multitude of projects. And we've been told you guys 99% of crypto assets, they're going to die. So in that, you're only going to have the cream of the crop that's going to rise. And those are the ones you need to focus on. That's why we created the 1%. That's why it's so valuable. That's why it's so important. The connections, the partnerships, the utility, the use case, the problems it solves in the world, not just here in the United States, is super impactful. And it is going to change the way we do all things. Gig economy, digital economy, financial revolution, all things are going to flow through this financial aspect. So as long as you guys understand where we're at right now is not where we're going, because where we're going, I hope you guys strapped in. I hope you guys are packing your bags, and you just got to have patience at this time, because just like Steve said earlier, there are factors that we have to worry about. The factors that we have to deal with is, if we get one side, they may cause a delay. If we get in right now and this guy Trump takes over, we're going to take off, because he's already showing his hand, and he's always been crypto favorite. Always. He was part of the executive order. He was the reason behind executive order 13772. That was about digital assets. And that was way back in 2016 or 17. So if you guys have been paying attention, or if you care to even look, fact check me. EO 13772. It's right there. All right. So I'm not going to talk to you guys for too much longer. I just wanted you guys to understand that here in the United States, because we don't have regulatory clarity, the rest of the world is adapting. We are getting what we need. We are getting to that finish line. And everybody is showing that they have confidence back into the crypto markets, and they're going to continue to invest their capital and their resources to build, because they know where this thing is going. All right. So that concludes Connect Wednesdays, episode 68. We're going to call this one Confidence in Crypto Markets on the Rise. We went over WLFI, World Liberty Coin, that Trump supports, him and his sons. Essentially, what I want to tell you guys before I let you go on that one is, you must be an accredited investor. You can't get into it. There's no sidestepping it. The only way it's available right now is through whitelist. Now that may change at some point, but he's bringing in big boys. The reason he did that, so it doesn't matter if you're from the United States or you live abroad, you can't get in, and you must KYC. I went through the process myself. You have to be accredited. You have to provide documentation showing your accreditation status. You have to provide passport, all things, right? So it's literally no way around it. We went over Ripple Swell, the announcements to come. We'll see if there was something else that came out later in the day. But they're pretty much wrapping right now. It's in Miami, so this is probably about the end of the day. I'll make sure you guys have any updates if anything comes about. And the exchanges that are supported RLUSD with the strategic partnership and Brick Summit on the way. All right. So there's a lot of changes. There's a lot of things that's happening. Hope you guys are on your P's and Q's and stay tuned for more. We'll have some more for you guys on the next episode of Connect Wednesdays. All right. Replay will be up soon. We got you covered. I'll make sure you guys get that PWC PDF as well. All right. Happy researching. Keep filling up your bags. Stay 10 toes down. Stay waist deep in cryptocurrency. Don't sway. All right. Because the moment you sway is the moment you're going to get knocked off your post. All right. Steve, you had anything you want to say to him before we take him out? All right. See you guys on the next. Hold on.
Yeah, nah, you killed that.
All right. Appreciate y'all. Listen, can't wait for this replay to be up. But we going to, matter of fact, cut the camera. Yeah, I should have been here. Peace.